It seems the impact of war on US troops is far greater than the American government could ever have imagined. Alarming figures show that the suicide rate among veterans who have served in Iraq and Afghanistan is at a record high. RT's Gaine Chichikan takes a look at why so many US soldiers feel abandoned by the country they served.
Each day, 18 American veterans commit suicide. In the last few years, more U.S. military personnel have taken their own lives than have been killed in either Iraq or Afghanistan. The numbers raise a question. Where is the battle really happening? In the field or at home?
He was only home for 8 months before his demons took him over.
My son returned physically, but mentally he never returned. He came home, and about a year and a half after being home, he put a gun to his head and he pulled the trigger.
And a year and a half of his life was torture. And they couldn't help him. Or they refused to help him. Or told him he was number 26.
I feel cheated that my son's needs weren't taken care of.
These parents share a similar tragedy, one of losing their children who had gone to war, all in Iraq, strong and healthy men, and came back deeply traumatized and haunted by nightmares. Thousands of American troops return home with post-traumatic stress disorder, but many refuse to seek help from the government. But even those who do seek help are often neglected.
I went to apply for a job. I applied for unemployment benefits. I went to the Veterans Administration for treatment a year after I was discharged because I was feeling suicidal and I was discharged. I was refused treatment, actually.
Brian Little, who had served in Iraq, came to this charity event for homeless veterans because he too was homeless. He and dozens of other young men and women here.
How long have you been homeless?
A few months, about 6.
Not only do many come back from war traumatized, but are often left without a roof over their head. According to the U.S. National Coalition on Homelessness, 40% of homeless men are veterans. The staggering number of those who see no other option but to kill themselves pushed the country's Veterans Affairs Department to start a suicide prevention hotline. They claim they've talked more than 10,000 veterans out of killing themselves. Iraq and Afghan veterans fuel the epidemic.
And I share your sadness over the killings that you now feel were for naught. I understand.
Specialists often hear from callers they see no meaning behind the many killings they witnessed. Any war can be traumatizing for a soldier, but the suicide rate among vets in the U.S. is now the highest since the Vietnam War. There was no similar surge after World War II. Civilians questioning the motive of the war is now reflected among many young American vets whose own doubts drive them even closer to the brink.